All right, welcome again to another exciting episode of the Tokyo Philosophical Society. In case you couldn't tell by our awkward masks, this is the Halloween episode. And to celebrate Halloween, we did something special.
Ooh.
What are you talking about? This is just a typical day for us, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Geez, Dustin, why so sad?
well, I think we just we watched something for Halloween, and it made me feel a certain way. You can guess later how I'm feeling.
All right, excellent. Yes, we watched a Japanese horror movie. Horror? Okay, well, we'll discuss that one later on. We discussed a Japanese.
It's like gender, Jesse. You just have to go with what it calls itself.
Yes, cool. Yes, we watched a Japanese horror movie by the title of Gensen Uta, which translates to, I don't know, I've seen it translated as infection. Was it Contagious Song?
Contagious Song.
Contagious Song, Suicide Song. All very, very promising sounding titles. And so to anybody who has seen this obscure movie, please enjoy us, watch us discuss us. If not, what you might want to do is click down in the description. We will have a timestamp to the end where we give our final impressions on the movie. So maybe if you haven't seen the movie, you can just skip to that, see if based on our final impressions you feel impelled to watch the movie, then watch it and go back and watch the other discussion. I know it's kind of a backwards way to do things, but what, I'm wearing a King Nikuman mask. Do you expect me to be logical? Go on. All right. So, jumping right into it, where do we start?
I don't know. You want to briefly describe the plot of the movie?
Okay.
Very briefly.
If you can, very briefly.
Yeah, if you can.
It might be impossible.
Okay. And spoilers start now. The plot of this movie is there's a song that when you sing it, you feel compelled to commit suicide. The main character, by the name of, what was something Anzu.
It was Anzu, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe her name was Tokyo Anzu. Oh, wait,
Tokyo Anzu.
God.
sorry, that was a joke.
That was a terrible joke. Okay.
Okay.
Would you prefer if I called her Manos the Anzu of Fate? No, her name was Anzu.
Yeah.
Yes, her name was Anzu. Oh. Oh, yes, the main character Anzu sees her friend and Kana commit suicide, and in trying to find out the reason why she committed suicide, she gets wrapped up in this shabuckle surrounding the suicide song, and ends up finding out how she's intricately connected to this song, culminating in a very odd ending that we will talk about later on in the video.
So, can I just jump right into criticism here? So, I was a little ashamed to admit this the first time I saw it, but I'm not anymore. So, I just want you to ask you, what was the first thing you noticed about the movie? Or what the hell? I'll just tell you. The first thing I noticed about the movie. The first thing I noticed about the movie was I couldn't tell what they were saying.
Ah,
Yes.
I couldn't hear what they were saying.
yes.
Their voices were so muffled,
Yeah.
or garbled, or quiet. But of course, the big screams and stuff, they were all pumped up in volume. I hate it when movies do that. I hate it so much. I had to have the volume on my TV up to like 60 and 70 just to catch what they were saying. And I was like, wow, my Japanese is really getting rusty. What's wrong with me? But then I went and I looked at the Yahoo reviews. Almost everybody said the exact same thing. I can't hear what they're saying. Okay, we have the sign of something terribly going wrong here. If I can't hear what your characters are saying, it makes me sad. Sad.
Not to mention, yeah, in the beginning, they're like all talking over each other. It's very chaotic, right? The beginning is intentionally very chaotic too.
I think they were going for like that hip, like
Yeah,
kind of, we're keeping it real kind of vibe. They did the shaky cam too, so they wanted
yeah,
to keep it. They make it seem like it wasn't scripted, but by them doing that, it felt more scripted than ever.
yeah.
So I get that, but there was in Japanese, I guess you would call it what katsuzetsu. But
Mm.
I mean, seriously, I'm not afraid to admit that now because I saw the other Japanese reviews. But you two thought the same thing, right?
Yes.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I was watching on my iPad and I had the max volume and I still had to hold it up to my ear sometimes. Like, what?
Yeah, and the worst thing was because the screams and the sound effects were so above volume. I actually had to like sit there with my remote control and have the volume way up when they're talking, and then kind of like anticipate those screams and then turn it way down before the scream happened, so I didn't like wake up the entire neighborhood. You know. Yes, that was a very large detracting factor from the overall enjoyment of the film.
And I want to ask one more question then, and I'll let you guys kind of take off at the beginning of the film. So in the beginning of the film, we see our main characters, and we see that they're high school girls in a girls' high school, and they're kind of, well, it's not the world's greatest girls' high school. They're kind of rebellious. They don't listen to the teacher. But we also see them kind of go out, and not only are they high school students, they're idols, right? And I guess this is, what would you call this, underground idols or something? I mean, like, they all sing, they do a number. They do a number from AKB right in the beginning. Okay.
Though, that does need to be clarified.
What?
Actually, the only person of the main cast who was also in AKB, yes, was the in this context of the movie.
Yes, very important.
Was Akimoto Sayaka. That's character. Judy?
So, is that a thing? Underground idols or whatever? I mean, I guess it is a thing. But I guess my question is, why was that in the movie? Because we never go back to that. That is just not referenced again, ever.
It was because the person who wrote the original concepts and produced the movie, he had a vested interest in this idol group gaining popularity. This is the person who I would say is, was very close to losing his Ningen Kokuho status with this movie.
Yeah, he seemed very interested in pushing his idol group for no reason. I mean, like, I thought, okay, well, they might be able to work this into the movie somehow, right? It's a movie about a contagious suicide song, right? But no, that wasn't it at all. That was just totally something else. Totally something. It was not ever referenced again. And I was like, oh, okay. And to be honest, I had more fun during that time than the rest of the movie. So, anyway. I could actually hear what they were saying.
Yes.
I also admit that, I don't understand the casting choice, since considering that was a major pull for the movie. Some of the people who I'm sure you would know would be the top batters of this particular group were suspiciously absent, or just kind of in the throwaway scene when the members were cutting up the newspaper for whatever reason. And I missed the symbolism of that one. Please explain if you figured it out. But
No, I don't know.
I don't know if there was. I didn't have time to think of symbolism because there were so many things going on. I mean, already in the beginning of the movie, we got this group of girls that we don't really know anything about, and there's this other group of people that are working for, what was it?
Gekkan Masaka.
Gekkan Masaka. What is there? A monthly magazine or something?
Yeah, it's kind of trash rag or something. Yeah.
These trashy
I
Japanese.
got like exposition to that effect too. It's like Gekkan Masaka. What's that? Gekkan Masaka is a trashy rag. You're like, oh god. Thanks for the exposition too. Like, okay. They couldn't just like show a scene of it on the shelf, right? You know what I mean? Like in a convenience store. They had to have one of the girls give exposition about it. Well, anyway.
Yeah, and anytime that Nene Kan, you'll get Kanshuka. All of these things have an air of trashiness that's about them already.
Mm.
It's like if in English we were to say, "Oh, the Weekly Inquirer, that's a weekly trash rag." Well,
Yeah.
This is kind of a tautology, is what you're saying. So I guess my second problem now arises from the Masaka peoples on their magazine. Like, I mean, honestly, do you think that those people were necessary for this movie? Those Gekka Masaka people? And if so, why? What were they? I mean, yeah, they served to push the plot forward because they forced the girls to sing the suicide song.
Mm.
And again, don't ask me why they wanted to do that. I mean, all they were like is like, okay, they meet up in this kind of strange portion of editing where they reverse the scene 13 minutes back for absolutely no reason.
I know.
Absolutely no reason, because nothing new is added by reversing that time 13 minutes. But okay, so they meet up finally at this kind of this place that's like, what is it? One of these online suicide.
Yeah, kind of like a crack house, but they're selling suicide.
Yeah. They're kind of, it's one of these places where people gather to commit suicide. And so they meet up there, both of them, and then they're like, hey, we could either take this to the police or we could go sing a suicide song together. And their rational choice was, let's go sing a suicide song. And I was kind of like, why would you do that? I'm kind of curious, you guys, why did they do that? What do you think their motivation to do that was? I mean, I think they did have a motivation, it's just not very good. I think their motivation was they were trying to prove that her death was not due to bullying.
Exactly, it was to find the truth themselves.
Right? I mean, because they were being accused of bullying her to death, when that wasn't true, even though it probably was true. And in my version of the movie, that's what happened. Right? They just bullied her to death, and and they were right, because of that crappy school. Right? Of course they're bullies. Look how they treat the teachers.
Though, remember, they did hint that what was really going on there was their Tanin sensei was trying to coerce her into committing suicide because he was too cowardly to die alone.
Yeah.
There's also that aspect of it.
Yeah, which is revealed much later.
Like,
so why did they agree? I mean, is that the only reason why? Because they're like, hey, I don't want to be on the line for this girl, committing suicide. So let's every single one of us sing a suicide song to see if we die. I don't know. It seemed like a flimsy reason to sing.
Yeah.
At least everybody.
Yeah.
If I were one of the girls, I'd say, okay, Gekkan Masaka guy, you sing it, and we'll wait a week. And okay. Okay. I guess.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question then?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I
Well,
thought.
I'm going to just say on this point, though, I think it fits. I think Akimoto was trying to fit this in thematically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Without logic. But it was totally, the scene lacked all logic, but he thought it fit the theme of the movie.
That, I think, is right. We can get to that when we talk about the themes. Also, I want to point out there was a little kind of detail they tried to throw in later on to kind of smooth these edges, where they said the suicide song has a power that makes it so you want to sing it when you want to commit suicide. It has that lure to it.
Yeah.
And all these girls were already feeling kind of down and in a I don't feel like living mood. So when this option was presented to them, as illogical as it sounded, they felt compelled to take it.
Okay, this is one of my problems with the film.
Yeah.
We weren't made to feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thesis of the film, I mean, if we're going to jump right to the end then if we go this far, but, it means that almost everybody has this kind of Thanatos drive within them. Everybody wants to die. But, these girls' lives weren't bad. They were the ones bullying the teacher. They were what was so bad about their life? And they're always sitting there talking about sex and, I don't know. What was so bad about their life that they were on the edge there? Was it the other girl's suicide? I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, that was And this is, I think Akimoto again, he shot himself in the foot by trying to have his so many girls in this film that he couldn't develop any of them.
Yes, exactly. This is what I wanted to say about this too. Like,
Yeah.
there were no characters in this film. You know what I mean? Like, this is one of my complaints. Like, I almost imagine that Akimoto said, maybe this isn't true, but I almost imagine he said to them, like, don't make them have any characters that would overrun their AKB characters, because I don't want that to happen. That would be, like, terrible. Make sure that the most memorable, the most visual thing you could tell about them is that they're AKB, rather than they have an actual personality. I mean, like, did you feel any of the girls had any real... I mean, there's the one tough girl. The tough girl. Okay. Did any of the other characters have any real personality?
They tried.
They
tried. Like, you remember Noto Kayo? No, I forget what her actual character was, but the character played by Noto Kayo
Yeah.
had that little scene where she's trying to seduce the guy.
Yeah.
Each character got like a one-off character development moment.
Like 30 seconds. I mean, there was that other girl, that, she's kind of goofy and kind of boketeru, right?
Yeah.
Like, there was that one, I think she was in the littler ones, I can't remember her name, but but we only get like 30 seconds of development on each one.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then that's never touched on again. And so, lucky you if you can find it. Good luck. It's like find where's Waldo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is where we. And the reason for that is because there's too much going on in this film.
Yeah.
There's too many things happening. Why do we have to meet all these girls, all these people from Gekkan Masaka? And then on top of that, we have to meet the school teachers. Then we have to meet some spiritualists.
Emma,
who they're connected to.
That guy's mother,
Yeah, and then a psychic. We have to meet this psychic, and then we have to learn another story about parents. I mean, how many characters do we have here? They're jumping the shark here. I mean, the biggest problem with this film is they tried too much, and it didn't work. It just didn't work there.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, like Taichi, he was that military guy, right?
Yeah.
Who led the Gekkan Masaka. He was, he had that limp, right? But he's like, do I look like the kind of guy that would commit suicide?
Yeah.
So he sings the suicide song, and he commits suicide.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, well, so you didn't have the same kind of guts that the Kocho sensei had? So the principal could pull out of his slump, but why did Taichi have such a... Was it his past war experiences? What drove Taichi to ultimate suicide?
It was never revealed to us. Was it? I couldn't catch it if it was.
The only thing they kind of hinted at is, well, there's the war experience, and there. But the main thing they kind of hinted at was the scene where he's sitting there in the suicide place. He's just at the bottom of a bottle. So they're trying to hint that this guy has such problems that he's drowning them in alcohol. Though we didn't see what the problems were.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know it. It's kind of like Star Trek or Star Wars again. I want to be in that Gungan pit with you and Obi-Wan or whatever, right? I mean, can we actually see anything here? I mean, would we have to be told everything? It's kind of like that scene from Armageddon when he's like, "I'm crazy," right?
Yeah,
oh my God, don't say it, show it, right? I mean, and we had no time with any individual character, so none of their deaths felt even tragic. I was confused when he popped out there. But, I mean, isn't that the ultimate tragedy of this film? Because up until that point, we're supposed to have believed that song was what was killing them, right? So it's supposed to look meaningless in a way, right? I mean, if it looked meaningful, part of the trick would be out of the bag, right? So, I mean, we're supposed to be confused up until the very end at what this song is. So, I mean, up until that point, you're kind of like, oh, he killed himself. Oh, it is like this suicide song. Oh, the song is killing them. Beware the evil song that you chose to sing. Run that by me again? I don't know. So, I mean, at that point, their motivations are so crazy because, but anyway, it's revealed later what it's really going on. But still, I don't know. Even at that point, I'm just kind of throwing my hands up in the air. I don't know.
I want to throw one positive point. I really had to dig, but the Ride of the Valkyries phone ring.
Oh, yeah.
I thought was funny. I have to give that. Like that was it was like throwback to Apocalypse Now,
Yeah.
right? So I'm gonna give him that. There was something quirky about that. I
Yeah.
really had to dig for that.
Well, that was I think that tied into his little. Well, okay, we want to yeah. What the hell? Let's just go for it. So that the very confusing last moment when he's gone crazy and announces that he's perhaps going to kill people. Remember, what do Valkyries do?
They kill people.
They harvest the souls.
Souls?
So this is kind of hint that everybody's already dead, and he's
Yeah.
just the Valkyrie coming to release their souls from the earth.
Hmm.
It also fits the theming that he was war.
War,
He's
yeah.
from a war.
Yeah, he liked the
background.
war stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing like the smell of suicide songs in the morning. It smells like victory.
Victory.
Uh, I mean, but I guess keeping with that, I don't know if it was Akimoto or the producer or the screenwriters, but they occasionally tried to work in yet another theme into this movie. And the other theme they were trying to work in, unsuccessfully, was a theme of war. Right?
Yeah.
There's constant references to war. They're playing war games.
Yeah.
They're looking at a pamphlet about 9/11,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
they refer to suicides as jibakutero.
Yep.
They refer to suicides as why am I losing my English now? Suicide bombings, right? They refer to suicides as suicide bombings. Okay, and I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting, right?
Hmm.
I mean, because maybe some people commit suicide as an attempt to get back at the people around them, right? They kind of like, oh, I hope they're crying. I hope they look at me and cry like this when they see my dead body, right? I mean, some people think like this when they're committing suicide. So in a weird way, I mean, I know it's an extreme comparison, but I mean, it was an interesting comparison to say, well, suicide is kind of like a kind of terrorism. You're trying to almost terrorize and make other people feel sad. What these people really want is, they want other people to miss them because they don't feel like they're being valued enough, right? So I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Now, it doesn't work in at all to the other themes in this movie. But, I mean, it didn't fit in anywhere. But if I had to find one kind of interesting thing, I think that's it.
Mm.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like that point too. Like I want to take that point somewhere else when I talk about the meaning of the movie. But yeah, I like your point there. I agree. That is interesting. Well, I mean, it's provocative.
It's provocative.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to say it's like it answers any real question. It answers a lot of questions, but it's provocative.
Yes.
So I like that. Yeah.
But did we have time to even think about that for one moment? No.
Yeah.
We got like 1,000 pages of exposition to read. Thank God.
Revisit that at the end though with that hint scene when everybody is going to commit suicide. What the hell did the Kocho Sensei actually sing the song, or was he just going to commit suicide? That was never explained either. But well, of course, I guess he had to have sung the song because when Anzu ends up breaking its curse, he backs down. But some explanation on that would have been nifty too. But how all the characters in their little different ways are going to commit suicide. The girl and then the photographer. Was he the photographer?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. Like
they were going to go and do, of course. First, let's go heavy-handed symbolism here. Suicide bombing at major government and organizations.
Yeah.
And then the Kocho was going to harakiri.
Yeah, traditional Japanese style.
Yeah, so there's that war theme.
Did you also notice that in Gekkan Masaka, some of the posters in the background were pictures of samurai killing themselves? Did you notice that?
Oh, I missed that.
So, okay, there was an attempt to do something creative for 30 seconds, and yeah. I mean, so like, I mean, it's this point you're kind of like, wow, what the hell are you guys talking about? And then it gets even crazier, right? Because then after they meet and they find out this suicide club that somebody had gathered, and that's just dropped.
Yeah, like Koji, or whatever, her boyfriend.
Koji, right? That's all gone. Now you guys got to go see this psychic detective or something.
Yeah.
Right? And like every Japanese movie's got this, horror movie's got to have this Reibashi or something that is gonna get rid of the evil spirits. So of course, and they always have to be this kind of goofy old woman.
Yeah.
They're always a goofy old woman.
Quirky,
goofy old woman or something, right? And
it's like this thing, like it's the Matrix, where you walk into the woman, you're like, you are that super smart lady, right? Because she looks like normal and she's eating Cupman or whatever and watching TV. They love that moment.
Yeah, like kind of, it's like the Yoda moment. Like, I'm looking for a great warrior. Oh, wars not make one great. So you figure out, well, Yoda is like this. He's the Jedi Master, and so they meet her, and then she throws the scalding hot water on some gaki or something, Buddhist ghosts or demons, starving demons or something. And I was like, oh, okay, now we have something else. We have we have other ghosts running around now. Alrighty, but then she's like, now go see someone else. And
yeah.
What? What was the point of view? Why are you even in this movie? Oh God.
Bureaucracy, really.
Bureaucracy. Japanese bureaucracy.
Well, they'd have because she was the twin sister of the guy's mother. So they had to get another character in the movie, but they didn't want to hire another actor.
How could he squeeze one more character in?
Yeah. I got it now. And so what happens after this? Now they go...
They split up.
She goes to find the truth.
Tokyo to commit suicide.
Mm.
And Anzu, Judy, and I cannot remember the fucking guy's name for the life of me.
Yeah.
Go down the tunnel to...
Miku? I think it's Miku.
Miku. Oh, yeah. Okay. Miku, yeah. So Anzu, Judy, and Miku go down the tunnel to find...
Oh God! Please finish that sentence.
Yeah, I was hoping you would complete that sentence.
Yeah.
To find the truth. I just spoke too quietly, and you couldn't hear it. It's better.
To find the.
Find the cue loud background music.
So, and in one scene, she's running, screaming through the tunnel like out of some Freudian dream.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have tunnel symbolism.
Yeah.
All right, and they're split up, and they go to someone go to see that psychic, right?
Mm.
They see that psychic, and he talks about how he fell in love with Noriko. Was it?
Yeah.
Was it Noriko or?
Mitsuko.
What was it?
Mitsuko. It's Mitsuko. Yeah.
Yeah, Mitsuko's song. And like when he falls in love with Mitsuko, and he doesn't want her to have her debut as a singer, and so they trick her, and some other girl ends up getting her song and sings it, and in despair she decides to commit suicide.
Mitsuko, yeah.
Yeah, Mitsuko decides to commit suicide, and so then they're like, oh my God, that's why this song is cursed. If you sing Mitsuko's song, it's from this despair that she felt at having her song stolen from her. And that's what's driving everyone to suicide when they hear it. Of course, this isn't true either.
Yeah, I know.
Because the one thing this movie needed was another plot twist. We just need more and more plot twists because we couldn't keep anything simple. So, okay, then that scene is over. Finally, when we introduced a psychic and all this history, but it all doesn't. Yeah, okay, but it kind of comes in later. So I want to take the next part here. What happens next?
So what they go running? They go to find
the truth.
The truth, right? I guess they go to find the truth, and where are they? Like what? Anzu.
They go off the mountain and into a tunnel.
Yeah, that's right. They go into the tunnel, and Anzu remembers that she was part of this whole thing from the start. So she was getting
her
chase.
parents were like being blackmailed by the Yakuza.
Yakuza, right? Yeah, and then she was getting chased down this. I don't know. Like, this guy was gonna rape her, I guess.
No. They were getting. What was it? Wasn't it that they were getting blackmailed by the Yakuza?
Yeah, that she was
So
in the
they
car.
decided to all kill themselves. Right. The father said, "Okay, let's all kill each other."
Yeah.
And so he decides to kill. They decide to all commit suicide together, but she escapes.
She escapes. Yeah.
And then the father is chasing her down.
Mm.
Right. And that's where we finally come in contact with our other plot point, which is what's her face.
So,
Mitsuko, yeah.
Mitsuko comes in, she sees it, and she stops the father
Yeah.
from killing her.
But like, tell me you didn't laugh at that scene.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
did. Like, I laughed. I thought it was a joke. Really, I could anybody take that scene seriously? Just like Mitsuko's at the top of this tower or whatever, and then like Anzu's running by as a little girl, and she sees her father chasing Mitsuko from the top of the tower. Sees the father running behind. So her brilliant idea is, I know, I'll jump from the window and come down, smash into the father at the exact same time. Like, she's timed this perfect. Like, she got like a
I thought she was like a Jedi.
I know, she like used the force.
Like, you remember when Anakin jumps off the ship and he lands right into the other ship? Like, maybe she's a Jedi.
Yeah. It like smashes into him, and then she saved Anzu. It's such a goofy scene, though. I laughed, I have to say.
admittedly, actually, I was laughing at the start of it. You know, they go out, they're all stopped in their car. It's like, okay, let's commit suicide.
Yeah.
And it's like, so we're in Japan here, where suicide is one of their indigenous art forms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yet the best thing this thought I could think of was rusty kitchen knife.
Yeah.
Like, why not the fucking hibachi stove? This the traditional death car or suicide device. But they just probably had originally thought of that, and they had pictured the scene of what it would look like if her father was Anzu's father was chasing her with a hibachi stove, and said, "No, that
Holding this hibachi stove, running after her. Smell it, smell it.
All right.
Okay, so that's when we learned the truth, right? That her song wasn't a
Yeah.
song of despair,
It was a song
right?
of
Of
hope
love.
and love.
It's a song of love and hope, I guess, right? So ultimately, okay, and this is where I wonder if our interpretations are correct here. Ultimately, the song is not a cursed song.
Mm.
People who are feeling the need or feeling like they want to die sing the song, but the song is like their last chance. Right, the song can either push them, they can put themselves in the song and get power and go back to decide to live again, or after hearing the song, they can yet decide to die, right? Is this what happens at the end?
no, that's it was not what I was.
Wait, yeah, no, it seems like you have a different interpretation. Like she actually
Yeah.
broke the curse, but the song wasn't cursed per se.
No,
That's the thing. Like, yeah, this is the point. Yeah.
I could be wrong here, but I try to feel like
It does look like the curse was broken. The
Yeah.
camera work is constructed in such a way that it looks like Anzu breaks the curse. But you're right. I mean, it wasn't originally.
it wasn't a cursed song. I mean, it was a song of love, right? So was her psychic power making it a cursed song?
Maybe it was it the terrible, like, having it stolen? This cursed the song?
Yeah, but we find out that that's not why she committed suicide.
That's not why she committed. Yeah, it's true. It's not. So why would it curse
She
the
committed
song?
suicide to
Curse
save
to
Anzu.
save Anzu, yeah.
So that's not why the song is cursed. The song wasn't that.
if you remember the Henshucho of Gekkan Masaka, he kind of was it when they're investigating the incident, the suicide song, and of course they had the great idea to better investigate this song that makes you kill yourself. Let's all sing it.
Yeah. Yes. What a smart guy. They were like praising how smart he was. So
Yeah, great boss there.
yeah.
But so they managed to find out that on the day Michiko committed suicide, there was another suicide, which was Anzu's parents. I don't know how they were able to figure out these two facts and not figure out what had actually happened. And that kind of blows my mind. What a half-assed police report were they reading that didn't have this crucial detail?
Yeah.
That Michiko fell on Anzu's father.
Michiko's head is like lodged in between his like breastplate, right? Yeah. Nothing suspicious looking there.
So I'll just, this is my suspension of disbelief that the police in this world are just completely incompetent, which is also another theme. Incompetence of the police is why they had to take the law into their own hands and sing the suicide song. But he makes again a one-off, seemingly throwaway comment that perhaps it's Anzu who's makichirasaing the suicide.
Yeah, they do make that comment.
So there is a hint that the curse might not have been in
the song.
In the song, or even
her.
in Michiko. It was in Anzu. That's why she always has. That's why she's the one having nightmares. She had the nightmare of Kana after she committed suicide, where Kana was like chasing after her, hinting perhaps that the director trying to make you think that at least Kana saw her death by suicide as Anzu's fault.
So okay, I get that. I mean, that was there. She definitely made that comment that it was like Anzu kind of makichirasuing this. But I mean, like, then how is that connected to? I suppose. I mean, like, would she put her psychic powers into that one song?
Oh yeah, there's no way she could have known. She didn't know the song was sung by this person who saved her, even if she had suppressed the memory of Michiko falling on her father. So she had forgotten all about Michiko. Okay, but even subconsciously, you'd see how she could be projecting Michiko. Somehow, like if the ghost of Michiko was killing someone, they could have had it end up being her own like id killing people in the form of Michiko, even though she had forgotten her. That would have worked, but yeah, there's no way she could have known. She could have attached to the song.
I mean, this is where I started to get a little bit kind of confused here, to be perfectly honest.
Me too.
I mean, I read several things online too, and a lot of them kind of said like, well, the song wasn't originally cursed, kind of like the theory that I was putting out that it was it was something else entirely, and that this song really had it was a song of hope, not a song of a curse. But so then the question becomes like, so the song, it wasn't really the song at all. It was just them. Just everybody has a desire already to die, basically, and that's what's the reason why people want to commit suicide is not the song. It's something else, like their lives or something around them. I don't know. But so like your interpretation is more like she is amplifying the power of her hate or.
Well, I don't know. That's confusing because I have found a different theme that runs very strongly through the movie that kind of explains a little bit about the song, but it doesn't work with Anzu being somehow an amplifier of it. At least I don't see how it works. Maybe you can help me out with this, but basically, I thought another one of the major themes running through this movie is people being robbed of their autonomy. And the very fact that we have a song that forces you to commit suicide that's robbing you of your autonomy, your ability to choose for yourself.
This is where it gets confusing, though. I don't know if it does or not.
Well, at least let me at least play through the kind of links here, and then we'll see if we can try and piece this together. Because I'm as lost on this as you are, but we see this theme of autonomy. The is in lots and lots of places, as little places, says, well, actually, even in big places, says when they went to the suicide crack house, and the Heinous Shucho, again, he was the one who suggested you make them go and sing that damn song. And then, so he's trying to force a decision on them. And then Anzu throws out that false dichotomy to effectively force the decision on them. Okay, who wants to go to the cops? Okay, nobody? Well, then we have to take the only other choice, which is go sing the suicide song.
Ridiculous.
This comes up, again, when the boss again forces his staff to sing the song. Again, he's robbing them of their choice not to sing the song, which is then going to rob them of their choice not to commit suicide. But even when they're heading to the Ryokan, remember Miku said, okay, the spiritualist gave me exact coordinates. You walk in a straight line. He kept getting, on several times, he got really pissed when they walked out of line. He's like, no, you stay in this line. You don't make these decisions yourself. Even the whole weird, laughable suicide scene too. It all came about by her father trying to rob Anzu's father trying to rob her of this choice. And this is where this starts to get crazy. Effectively, so Michiko was up there in that tower. She had initially gone up to commit suicide, but had decided not to, which we have no idea why, other than the fact that Anzu said she had decided not to. How she knows this, I'm not sure. Maybe she read the script.
Is that the script behind you? That's a copy.
So Michiko was sitting there at the verge of this choice. She'd either go down the stairs and live, or jump out and die. And essentially, Anzu's position in this of needing to be helped, of course, again, the only way she could be helped is through this weird Jedi death trick, like of falling on the floor. So, by being in this position, essentially, the Anzu, again, then assuming the premise of this scene actually makes any sense, Anzu necessitated her suicide. Essentially forced her to make that decision. So then, but Anzu had forgotten about Michiko's sacrifice. This is why the spiritualist says, you could have saved people by paying due respect to the sacrifices of the past. Because Anzu had, rather than saying, thank you for saving my life, it just kind of blanked on it. Michiko's ghost was a little upset, and maybe she attached herself to Anzu, which is why she's Makichidashiing suicide. Why Anzu could be said to be Makichidashiing suicide, but what she's doing through this suicide song is, again, robbing people of that choice, of whether or not the people who are on this edge choosing whether or not to jump or not. She's doing essentially to them what she sees Anzu done to her. Which is why then, in the end, when Anzu, she sings the song and kind of says, "Thank you, Michiko," and "Thank you, Mom and Dad."
Yeah.
But that one really did not need to be there. But when she finally acknowledges the sacrifice Michiko made for her, then Michiko said, "Okay, don't need to do this anymore." Which is why it ends with her bowing and "Arigato gozaimashita."
I like that. I like that idea have choice being taken away. There's something top down coming from a lot of the decisions in the movie too. I like that's an interesting catch. Um, I want to think about that. I want to throw up my version here, and my version's much crazier than yours, Jesse. So
Cool.
please, this is going blasting off into different places. So please, if you feel this is totally off point, please just hit say. But all right, this is something I wrote about the message. So this is what I was thinking when I was thinking of the message of the movie, which is first I thought kind of. So AKB's presence in this movie is so strong that the mind immediately makes a connection between the Suicide Song and AKB's songs as a metaphor for the kind of social suicide one commits by being one of their fans in society at large. Also, the presence of Minagishi calls to mind images of her own trials and troubles of idols in the large scene, although this was filmed before her incident. So it's easy to make the connection between the Suicide Song, a kind of jibak tero on your family, an attack on your family by your own selfishness. This is the way a lot of people see AKB fans themselves, as indulging their own selfish desires, usually at the cost of their families. But, of course, the Suicide Song turns out not to be a song of evil and selfishness, but a song of goodness and self-sacrifice. It has only been misused for evil. It is actually a song that will heal the chaotic and sick Japanese society portrayed in the movie, by making everyone remember and acknowledge the sacrifice of those who came before us and our own parents. Yes, the root of the whole problem was that we didn't appreciate the things right under our own noses. From the toilets the principal was scrubbing, to our own mothers and fathers. AKB fans, breathe a sigh of relief. You're not part of the problem, you're part of the solution. But just how you're going to explain that to your mom and dad next time you see them is a total mystery to me. Good luck.
As crazy as this sounds, that was my exact. It wasn't as played out as that, but that was my interpretation. That he was justifying AKB's presence as a symbol of love in society, because they're often accused of being, I don't know, a sickness of Japan, right?
Yeah, right. But he went to say it's a sacrifice. It's a self-sacrifice, right? You know what I mean? Like you're supporting people, you're helping people via this song, right? Isn't this kind of like what he was trying to get in there, Akimoto? No. What do you think?
I don't think the presence of AKB was that thought out. Especially, it's kind of difficult to. Just based on the timing of the movie, need to assume he was trying to respond to the public backlash, because if you
2007, yeah.
Yeah, well, now that if you know, it's just the timing. This is when they only had Ikkisei and Nikkisei.
Mm.
There was no Kashiwagi Yuki or Watanabe Mayu in there. So they are really, or this is probably like in their first year of activity. This might even before or their famous debut on the Kohaku. So I don't think there really was a idea of AKB and the culture at that time.
I don't know. I when it comes to if it just being simply, I don't know if I could. I disagree. I really think that this movie, if anything, was made to advertise AKB in a certain way.
Well,
I mean, like the connection between Densei Uta and his new and upcoming band. To me, it's just like, well, he's like, well, I have my history with Chakushinari. I can use this to sell my new group, and my new group sings songs, and I'll just use my talent for horror to be writing a new song about them. So at the very least, I don't think you can deny that there was thought. I mean, like without AKB, this movie would have never been made.
Exactly. I'm not going to deny that at all. I'm just saying it was not necessarily a response to an established social opinion about AKB, more as it was a cheap attempt to advertise AKB.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not giving him that much
yeah.
credit.
Maybe being so specific, like like Akimoto's been in the idol business for years. I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's been pushing tons of people like with Yanko Club and stuff
Yeah.
like this. Well, for a long time, so maybe it could be expanded even more to like idols in general. But
Yeah.
That's true. That's interesting. If you expand it to idols in general, I suppose.
Okay. That's more.
Seiko is Matsumoto Seiko or something.
I don't know. But I did get that impression that he was trying to justify idol culture in a certain way in this film. I mean, because it's the same way. I mean, like if I were to take his perspective, I'd say like, okay, you could make the same movie, but call it Suicide Video Game or something, and then it's when whoever plays this video game dies, right? And it would be like Grand Theft Auto 5. But then in the end we found out that Grand Theft Auto 5 wasn't making anyone kill anyone. It was just something else entirely. And so, it kind of felt like that to me. It's the kind of thing, well, don't blame the song. The song was made with love. The death came from somewhere else.
Yeah.
But this is just one interpretation. It's certainly not
Yeah, I mean, I think
interpretation.
they really were trying to force this, like, the children, the kids these days, they're not the problem. The adults are broken, kind of.
Yeah, that's what the principal says there.
Yeah. The adult society is the sick one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like both of these interpretations, both of yours actually, very much. And
yeah,
that's about all I have to say
me too.
about the film. So, what's your final rating about this film? How would you sum it up?
You would be me?
Anyone?
Okay. Hey, so we're just going to do it into our final thumbs up, thumbs downs rating here?
Yeah.
Cool. For all of its problems, basically, I saw this film as a movie that attempted a lot of bold things and just failed at each and every one of them. And from the fact that there is no real, it's a horror movie, but there is no real horror aspect to it. All of the scares, are all fake out scares. Anzu's mother bursting into the room. The bloody hands crawling up to Viku is just the cameraman whose hands are bloody because he carried his bloody coworker to the hospital and then didn't wash his hands. But there's a scene where he's trying to fall asleep, and you see the two girls kind of like with their hair down like they're ghosts of the chickens that they're just fucking around. So yeah, it was a weird, bold attempt to kind of blend and horror, comedy, and mundaneness, which I like. I like when mundaneness is done well in movies. It was not here, but in every major failure of this movie, I could see how a little bit more strength, a little bit more refinement could have made it a lot better. Or even at the beginning, they actually gave up on this, and thank God they did. But at the beginning, you remember there was just cuts every 3 seconds, and there was changing camera angles. And this was a deliberate attempt to disorient you through this rapid change in camera angle. Even that was a bold attempt that, again, fell flat on its face. So I think I'm going to maybe give the controversial opinion and say, perhaps it's worth giving a try, just so you can kind of see these techniques, however unrefined they were, and how they played to a larger whole.
Okay. Oh, so a tentative pause. Give it a try.
Yeah, give it a try, but don't expect to be wowed.
Mm.
No, but definitely, it's an experience that I think is worth having.
Oh. Okay. All right, I'm gonna give mine. I think I remember when I used to have more free time and I'd actually go to bars and stuff at night, and like how you sometimes you go to a bar and like they have music playing, but they also have TVs going in the background, and like but they have the sound turned off on the TV, so you just see the picture. I think if you have a bar and you need something to play in the TV with no sound, play this movie. Otherwise, yeah, nah, you don't have to rent it. But it might look really entertaining on a TV with no sound at a bar.
Wow. Okay. I mean, like, I'll work that into my feelings about the film. I don't know. I almost feel like it's everything that's going wrong with parts of Japanese mass media these days. That it's an effort to do too much with too little. It's a triumph of style over substance. We spend almost little to no time with any of the characters, and then it's all these kind of clever, trying to be clever lines mixed with pseudo clever direction that add up to nothing in the end. You never feel a moment of horror. You don't feel a moment of anything, to be honest. I mean, because the plot is so convoluted. You're sitting here trying to figure out what's going on the entire time. You don't have time to feel anything. Nothing is set up, and then when everything is revealed, you're still confused. And by the reactions of the Japanese people that I saw on Yahoo, they were confused too. I mean, it seems like everything that could go wrong did go wrong in this film, and I don't know. I think if you had to go to your local movie store, I would definitely recommend Chakushin Arty over this one. I mean, there's so many other films you could see that are, even compared to this, so much better. For example, that new one, The Complex, Kuroyuri Danchi, is even that's not a perfect film by any standard at all, but it's much better than this one because it actually has time to be a horror film. And I don't know, I kind of wish it would have gone more into comedy. If it wanted to be a horror comedy, I mean, there was like several moments of kind of like, oh, okay, that was a comedic moment, and then we just go back to a pseudo tense moment, and it kind of felt like, George Lucas in Star Wars. Like there were too many moods, and you didn't know what to feel, and it didn't matter because you couldn't hear what they were saying either. I don't know. I don't mean to be so down on this film, but I can't think of any real redeeming moments in it. So, I mean, it seems like it was a failure on every front, and at its worst, at its most cynical interpretation, it's just an advertisement for something else that he wanted to do even more, which was his favorite group at the time. He was trying to sell AKB, and in this movie, he kind of just, I don't know, he didn't put his heart and soul into it as much as I would have liked. So I can't recommend this film.
All right. I think that's pretty good. Then let's finish our Halloween special.
Well, all right, so join us next time when we talk about something a little more actually related to philosophy.